Welcome into the Cougar Cast here at the Kokomo Post Sports. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, and this is the place to get all the information on what's going on at the IUK Athletic Department. And joining us at the top of the show today is not Grant Patterson. It is Heather Hayes, the head volleyball coach at IUK, who just won not only the River States Conference regular season championship, but also won the River States Conference Championship tournament once again for the 6th year in a row, going to their 9th straight NAIA tournament. It's the head volleyball coach of the volleyball team that's been really successful this year, Miss Heather Hayes. Heather, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's been since August, so I'm glad to be here to kind of report on how things have gone for us this fall.
How would you describe how things have gone since we last talked?
Yeah, so we've had a great season. I'm really proud of this team. They set extremely high goals at the very beginning of the year, and they have worked really hard, very focused, very intentional with our practices. They've been really not let up. You know, I think this is one of our most motivated teams that we've seen in terms of consistency with our approach to practice and really working hard to reach those goals. And they've put themselves in the position to continue. They've reached every goal they've had so far this season. We still have another goal to go, and they've put themselves in a good position.
What are those goals that they have accomplished this year so far to this date?
Sure. So we played a really tough preseason schedule to just get more exposure to teams to help us have a chance to make the top 25 this season. And our goal was just to come out of our preseason with a winning record.
Yeah.
And we came out of that 9-3 with a couple of top 25 wins. And so kind of, that checked one of our boxes. And then we also won the conference tournament regular season. We didn't really have a goal to go undefeated. We just wanted to win it so we can secure the bid, but we went 19-0. We only dropped 3 sets the entire conference season. So that was exciting. And then we also had the goal to win our conference tournament, which we also did. And we were fortunate enough to host since we had won the regular season. And so they have put all that together, and then their goal was to make it back to the national tournament, and their goal is to to win that first round game.
My wife and I got to get out to one of the games recently, and we were not only amazed with how much fun it is to watch the girls play, but how in sync they play every single time. The rotation is one that I look out there, someone else is coming in, someone's coming out. 2 people come in, 2 people come out. It didn't matter who was on the court. Everybody was in sync the entire time. And that's not chemistry that you can just we wake up and we just have that. Those girls have worked hard for that. And that's one of the things that I just took from the game that we watched was how in sync those girls play together.
Yeah, our team is, we do have a couple of freshmen, that get a lot of time. But for the most part, we're a very veteran group. And our back row especially is very veteran. And so we have, like I said, 6 seniors really on the team. So they have a lot of experience, a lot of court time. So that certainly helps. And then we're just a very balanced team. I think that's what makes us very tough to defend. A lot of teams rely on only 1 or 2 people, and any given day we have someone who can lead us. And so it's really tough to defend a team that is so extremely balanced, that doesn't rely on 1 or 2 people to win. And that's definitely been a huge factor of our success in terms of but then we have this great back row that returns everyone from last year. Our setters are great. And we just have a lot of experience this year. And I think that's been a huge factor for our success. That
experience, I do believe, can and probably will help you this coming Saturday as your girls are hosting the opening round of the NAIA National Tournament. It's Saturday at IUK on campus at 1 p.m. What can fans expect if they come out to watch a team play this weekend?
You're going to see some really good volleyball. I think that volleyball at a level that might even surprise people. We're a very high level of play. I think sometimes in AIA, maybe people misunderstand what that looks like. So I think you're going to see solid volleyball, high level volleyball. You're going to see a ton of energy and a lot of talent. Both teams are very solid, and we're excited for the product that we put on the floor. We think we put on a pretty good show, and would love for more of our community to come out and check out what we have to offer.
That show that she was speaking about, my wife and I actually sat behind the scores table, and to the right of us was the bench where you were sitting. The girls were standing loud cheering the entire time. So if you want to see a show on the court, you're definitely going to get that. But also the camaraderie and the morale of the team is always really high. I've been a part of a lot of teams, some that have been really successful, some that have not been that successful. this morale for the team seems very, very unique. Even when I was in high school and our football team made it to the sectional championship game, I even knew going into that week, a tough opponent. I knew there were some guys that were ready to talk trash to some of the coaches. These girls, they believe every single game, every single set they're going to win. And I lost track. I know the streak has ended now of how many sweeps the girls have had. That morale and that camaraderie is great, but that has to help the girls play at their top, at their peak when they're on the court.
Sure. I mean, culture, right?
Yeah,
it's all about culture. And that is something really important. Just like a plant, you got to water it to grow. And we believe you got to water your culture for it to grow, right? And so we put and spend a lot of time on that culture. So, it's taken time to get us to where we are. But I think you see the fruits of that labor and the product that we're putting on the court in what you see on our sideline.
How do you think the holiday may help the girls? Now, I know family coming in town. Do you think that girls that may have family coming in town this week a little bit early, that's going to maybe boost them to play a little better? I don't know how that may affect them.
Just being on our home court, right? I think is extremely helpful. We're just so excited. We think we play really well at home. We have a great following, we think. And so being able to do that on our home court, I think just helps us play a little better.
One thing that I noticed, I said it earlier, the 9th straight NAIA tournament appearance. I don't know how many times you guys have hosted any of those 9. Is this the first time?
Third.
What does it mean to host?
Home court advantage. I mean, we've traveled to Kansas, to Omaha, Nebraska for those first rounds. So that's a lot when you find out on a Monday and then you have to turn around and, leave Wednesday to go out and practice and play in a game on a Saturday. It's really tiring on the body, very taxing. So just being able to practice on a facility that we're comfortable with, sleeping on our own bed, I think there's a lot of advantage to that. And just that having that home court. So it's very tough to get the ability or the opportunity to host. And so I think it's, it's not a guarantee that you win, but it's certainly just another thing that's in your favor. And so I'm just really proud of them for earning this opportunity. They've worked really hard for it. And since they've been to the national tournament, this particular senior class has been all 4 years.
Oh, wow.
And to the national tournament, and they hosted when they were freshmen. And then we had to travel the last 2 years, and so they'll get to host as seniors. And so hopefully we can have the same outcome when we hosted last time. We did win, so our fingers are crossed that we get another victory.
I'm rooting for you, like publicly right now on the show. I don't mind saying it. I'm definitely rooting for you. By the numbers, the team is 15-1 at home this year. Look to make that 16-1 going into the NAIA tournament. And let's just say they happen to win. Will there be another game for people in the town to watch? If they win Saturday, will there be another home game?
Yeah, no more home games. This is your last opportunity to see us in person. If we were to win, we would advance to the final 20. There's currently 48 teams in the country left. We'll advance to the final 24, where we will go and play kind of a week-long tournament for the national championship. There'll be 24 of us if we were to advance out there playing in Sioux City, Iowa for that opportunity.
What keeps you motivated and going and excited about another opportunity to go into a tournament that you've been at 8 times previously, in a row at least, and now the 9th time? What keeps you motivated and excited about this opportunity?
Sure. I mean, our team is motivated because we feel we're still a young program and we still have so much to grow and many firsts to still achieve. While we've been 9 times in a row, we've only made the final site 3 of those. So we're hungry to make the final site. We're hungry to advance out of pool play once we get there. So we don't see it as, we've done this 9 times in a row. We look at this as, what more can we still achieve?
Last thing here. Do you have any last comments about the team playing in the opening round of the national tournament on Saturday?
I would just say I would love for anyone watching today to give it a consideration to come out. Even if you've never been to a volleyball game before, or you've been and you thought it was boring, give it a shot. Come check out our team. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And I know we would really appreciate the community sport.
Coming up next, the head soccer coach, women's soccer coach at IUK, Miss Sohaila Akhavein, will be joining us as a soccer team is preparing to play the national tournament as well. We'll get her perspective about what the team is doing to prepare for that big event. As the Cougar Cast rolls on, I'd like to welcome into the show the head women's soccer coach at IUK who brought some hardware with her. I made a comment jokingly the last time she was here saying hopefully I selfishly wanted her to bring the trophy that her team might win for winning the River States Conference Championship Tournament. Well, Sohaila Akhavein, the head coach, is the coach of the year for the conference and also is the head coach of the team that won the River States Conference Tournament Championship, which was played right here in Kokomo. Welcome back to the show, and thank you for bringing a friend.
Hey, you're welcome. I was hoping we were going to bring it for you, but I'm just glad it's here.
Back-to-back conference tournament champions. Before we dive into the game that I attended last week, and even the girls winning the game on Saturday, what does it mean to win that tournament back-to-back years?
It's an exciting feat. I think anytime you have a program that wins a conference championship regardless is pretty incredible. To win it back-to-back it is tough. It's really hard. And props to all of the coaches at IUK that have been able to do that. So we're trying to follow in those footsteps. But it's a tough feat to get over, It's a lot of soccer games. It's a lot of 90-minute matches. And we're just really excited that we are able to do it back to back. And this group of players that we had deserve exactly that.
Molly and I recently went to, I think it was a semifinal round.
Yeah.
And I forget the team that you guys played. That escapes me right now. But Shawnee State.
Yeah.
Shawnee State. Correct. Thank you, Molly, for saying that. That game was fun. It was intense. There were emotions from high emotions to low emotions all throughout the game.
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed about those girls, and you talked about that in the post-game interview we had after the game, their grit, their determination, they don't quit. And even on Saturday, it came up again, having to go into penalty kicks. It's fun to watch them play. But you get a different seat than anybody else does. What's it like to watch these girls never give up and always fight till the end?
Yeah, it's remarkable to see, the growth of a player from day one, when we start in August, but when they come in as freshmen to the growth that they have and who they become their senior year. It has been in our culture since, day one when I came to IU Kokomo that, and we talked about this in the post game, right? Love and passion is going to kind of prevail every single game. And this group of players has that. They have love for this game. They've been playing since, they've been 4 or 5 years old, and the passion that they have when they are together, the camaraderie that they have together. And then that grit shows, it's a tough battle. This game is hard, and it's more so hard on you mentally than anything else. So having that mental grit is something that we talked about it all season.
Yeah.
And whether you go up a game, and you're holding a lead, or you're down a game, and what are you doing on the field to try to come back from it? But it's the growth that we've seen this season in particular of every single player has been pretty remarkable.
Now, I understand there were numerous girls that won all conference awards. One player, not going to say the name yet, won Defensive Player of the Year award. Could you just go through and just lay out the awards, who won them, and kind of highlight, maybe not one, or just collectively, the girls and what it takes to win any award at the conference level? Yeah,
to win anything at the conference level, is remarkable. It's a feat, right? It's almost, one of those where we'll put all of our players out there and it's almost up to the conference coaches and all that stuff to kind of vote and all that stuff. So is there some bias in it? Is there, we had an incredible season. What I have wished every single one of our players, got something, of course, right? But yeah, we had 7 all-conference players this year, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
When you talk just on a soccer level, you have 11 players on the field. So 7 players, were all conference recognition. Keely Hoopengardner was one of those. Kelsey Hoot was a first-team all-conference player. Carly Kellett, Cassie DeSpennett, and Sydney Miller were all first-team conference players this year. Kaya Bogers was a second-team all-conference player this year, and Brooke Gill was a third-team all-conference player. And, you got to see Brooke score that game-winning goal, and we talked about it. Brooke was out all last season, so it was a huge accomplishment for her, to come back this year to score some game-winning goals for us, to be a third-team all-conference player. And we were pretty fortunate last year to have some top-level awards in itself. Keely Hoopen-Gardner was Player of the Year, and we had one of our goalkeepers, Keely Moore, be Newcomer of the Year. But this year, and that's one of our goals, is to try to get these awards at the end of the season. And this year, we had the Defensive Player of the Year in our goalkeeper, Sydney Miller. So.
Sydney Miller, I wasn't sure if this was going to come up now or later, but we talked about her after the game. One of the amazing things that I learned about, or I appreciate about soccer, I haven't played soccer since I was in middle school. Like, I wasn't that good. I couldn't play goalie if I tried. But just the the angles it takes, the mind, you mentioned the communication. There's so many minor details that go into playing goalie at any level, but especially at the collegiate level. What are some things that describe how she is so successful?
Yeah, I think one of the things that, got all of our goalkeepers successful this year, and every single one of them, is us bringing on somebody that's their expertise. Mm-hmm. And we brought in a goalkeeper coach, Amanda Carmesino, who's a Noblesville area kid, played collegiate soccer for Hanover College, had a very successful career there. But one of my priorities in the offseason this last year was to find somebody that's going to put these players over the top. So bringing in a goalkeeper coach to be able to do that, to train these players, to train Sydney, to train Tex, as we call her, Alicia Burns, in the area that they know best. Mm-hmm. So those players, not only train with our team when we're practicing in the morning, but they have 2 sessions a week with our goalkeeper coach to kind of get them ready and where they need to. Sydney came up pretty big for us this year with a lot of great saves, in our conference final, to get us this guy right here. She had 2 big penalty kick saves. So there's a lot to it. It's not just, train with the team, and, just like every sport, if you want to get really good at your craft, you got to put in the time and the effort. And Sydney definitely did that this year, but all 3 of our goalkeepers have done that over the last couple of years.
Later this week, your girls are playing. It's a neutral site game in Marion, Indiana, so it's not too far away. I say neutral site, Everyone's thinking like, they're going 4 hours away. No, it's not that far. Only going 45 minutes away, maybe, going to Indiana Wesleyan's campus to play their opening round of the NAIA National Tournament you guys went to a year ago.
Yeah.
Back in it again this year. It must be special to have that be so close for the first game you're playing in.
I think, when the selection show came on, all the sites that the players are really excited for, right? The Floridas, the Alabamas, Californias. We were fortunate last year to take that trip to Kentucky, which is a little bit of a distance, but having it so close and almost in our backyard, we're really excited about that. It gives a lot of opportunities for fans, for people that have supported us all season to continue to support us. So playing it pretty close is not as bad as it kind of could be. But I think we're really excited just to continue to hopefully get a bunch of people there. We'd love to have people to come out on Thursday, 7 o'clock when we play. The more support, this team has thrived all season, having more and more and more people to kind of really watch what an amazing group this team is.
So one thing that I was thinking about here is something that Heather Hayes mentioned earlier in the show, talking about how the volleyball team, their first game's at home on campus, and the girls get to sleep in their own bed.
Yeah.
As an athlete, former athlete, what's the importance of even sleeping in your own bed the night before a big game?
I think, for me, I think it was one of those where it was like routine.
Yeah.
It's you're very comfortable in your own routines and what you're doing. And so I think that's a big part of all of that. I think the other thing too is, it puts you in a good mindset kind of going forward. You're used to, like I said, you're used to what you want and what you're doing. And So that's pretty nice to have. And, you know, the volleyball team is very, very lucky, you know, because it's not easy to host,
Right.
To host this national tournament. So we're really excited for them, you know. Hopefully we continue to play on Saturday as well. But if we don't advance, we definitely will be there supporting our volleyball team.
Remind me, if Thursday's a win, Saturday's in the same location?
Yeah, Saturday will also be at the campus of Indiana Wesleyan. So our opening game on Thursday, we play a team actually out of California. So we'll play that opening game on Thursday, and if we do advance, we'll play IWU on their home campus on Saturday at 2:00.
Last thing, it's not so much me, but it's you. What's kind of the last comment or message you have about your team, the soccer team, heading into the national tournament once again?
Yeah, I think it's an exciting opportunity for these players to even advance this far. We've worked really hard all season. I think, you know, my final message for the team and our coaching staff's final message is just go out there and have fun.
Yeah.
You know, and the more fun you have and the more excitement you individually bring to the team, the better off we're going to be. So we're going to go out there and have fun. Hopefully we get our very first ever NAI national tournament appearance win, but we'll see what happens on Thursday.
I'd like to thank Miss Sohaila Akhavein, the head women's soccer coach at IUK, for coming on the show, and also Heather Hayes, the head women's volleyball coach at IUK, for coming on the show as well. You got to hear about the volleyball team, the soccer team. Both are playing here locally later on this week. Definitely get out and travel to Marion, travel to IUK. I know I said travel, it's not that far, and watch these talented young ladies play the sport that they love. This has been the Cougar Cast. We'll see you next time.